Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Griffin.
Here.
Bishop. Conwell. Gray. Hairston. Harsh. House Jones. Jones. Casey. Kelly. Moorer. McCormack. Polensik. Santana. Slife. Spencer. Starr. You have a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you. Will everyone please rise for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll make the following statement. This meeting of Cleveland City Council is a lawful meeting. Under Section 605.04 of the Codified Ordinances, no person with purpose to prevent or disrupt a lawful meeting shall do any act which obstructs or interferes with the due conduct of such meeting. Members of the public are invited to speak only under the rules set by this council. Disruptions, including but not limited to speaking out of turn and making loud noises and loud utterances, are in violation of the rules and interfere with the due conduct of this lawful meeting. Such disruptions may constitute a misdemeanor and a violation of Section 605.04. Anyone who disrupts this lawful meeting in violation of the codified ordinances commits misdemeanors and is subject to prosecution. The following is the first and only warning. If this meeting is disrupted, I will gavel a halt to the proceedings and direct the assembled officers to escort any person participating in the disruption out of the chamber. Once persons participating in this disruption are outside of the chambers, the officers will close the doors and the disruptors will be handled as directed by the Director of Public Safety. The council proceedings will not begin again until these that participated in the disruption have left the chamber and the chamber doors are closed. Disruptors will not be allowed back in the chamber after the meeting resumes. Again, this is the first and only warning. Madam Clerk, please dispense with the journal.
By Councilmember Spencer, that the reading of the minutes of the last meeting be dispensed with the journal approved, seconded by Councilmember Bishop.
Thank you. We'll move to public comment. Once again, I'd ask for all the council members to turn around to acknowledge the speakers, and I ask all the speakers to acknowledge your time. When you see yellow, that means to wrap it up. When you see red, that means to abruptly stop. We will hold everybody strictly to the 3-minute rule. First is Ashley Schrader. Ashley Schrader is from Ward 3 to talk about sustainable solutions for community gardens. She's not representing anyone and not being paid by anyone. Ashley, you have the floor.
Council President, I have a packet full of information for each of the ward leaders, information on how many community gardens and how many people it affects in their wards. Hello, council members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. The last week you got to hear from many of my neighbors, but I'm not just here tonight to speak on my behalf and my garden's behalf. I'm here to speak for all of the city gardeners. My name is Ashley Schrader. I am the garden lead for West 47th Street Community Garden via OSU Extension. I am certified as a garden lead. I was one of 2 weddings that happened in my garden during the pandemic. My husband last week, who's here with me today, has basically given you the overview of OSU Extension. Summer sprout gardens have been around since 1976. So that's over 50 years that we've had this opportunity to community garden. It's benefited many community members and it's benefited my street. I'm asking council and city to think innovatively about these lots that are currently potentially out for development, like solar panels for net metering back to CPP, ring gardens for streets like mine that flood when we have catastrophic floods. Areas for leaf drop-off, we do have one in my neighborhood, but there are other wards that don't have that opportunity to get leaf pickup in the spring and the fall. And green credits for local governments might change with Trump administration, but it's worth looking into for a local economy. These are items I can think of that are innovative outside the box that council and the land bank, as well as our mayor who's here tonight, can look after. Additionally, in the papers I have with me tonight, the land bank and OSU have not come to their contract. And I find that crazy that this has happened. They've had 2 years with no contract for the extension that affects 3,000 residents who get fresh fruit and interact with their neighbors. And it's not a lot. It's 130,000 where you have developers asking for billings from you. So please help OSU Extension sign a contract, get the land bank figured out, and instead of putting our community gardens up for sale on the land bank, put community gardens in those land bank items on the city council page. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Daryl Houston. Daryl Houston is from Bedford Heights. He's here to talk about city issues. He's not representing anyone and not being paid by anyone. Mr. Houston, you have the floor.
Good evening, everybody. I want to talk about the LLCs of the city of Cleveland, out-of-state investors. It's 17 wards. In every last one of you guys' wards, you have dilapidated properties. A lot of these properties are not owned by residents of the city of Cleveland. And I'm going to speak up on it because it's our tax dollars that's going towards keeping the maintenance up on these properties. So I'm asking City Council, President, along with Mr. Polensek, if he could pay attention to do some type of legislation on that. It's greatly needed in the community. It's the biggest reason why our communities looks dilapidated, because we are not enforcing housing codes by out-of-state investors. And I'm asking nicely for you guys to put that in legislation, because I've been hearing City Council, Mr. Polensek, always say they do what? Ordinances and legislation. Just like you did an ordinance and a legislation about the dirt bikes, right? For 30 days, you made that a big deal. Make this a big deal and get this done for us, the community, because we're begging to have our communities look like somebody live in them. And it's up to City Council to do something about it, because you guys write ordinances and legislation. And one more thing I would like to leave you guys with. When I go over to the county, to their meetings, they give us full attention. They don't have their phones in their hands. They don't read anything. They look directly towards the people at the podium. It is very unprofessional for City Council to sit here, some of the individuals play on their phones, read papers, because Channel 20 TV, whether y'all realize it or not, you guys are being watched. You guys are being scrutinized and don't even know it. So it's best to start using professional settings. I don't understand how we come down here, we talk to you guys, we ask for certain things, and it's ignored. I don't understand that. You guys function like you work for yourselves. In all actuality, you work for the community, taxpayers. When are you guys gonna step up to the plate and do the right things in the city of Cleveland for the residents and you guys? You guys live in the same community. That's what doesn't make sense, that you don't invest where you live at. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Apostolate Pamela Pinckney from Cleveland to talk about My Children and Me. And she's with the People's New Party, but not being paid by anyone.
What have you done to my babies? I am a woman, a mother, a female, not a doormat. By the rivers of Babylon, by the lake called Erie, I have hung my harp, my hat. I have wept, I have sat. My hope has been in Jesus Christ. You say I have bad faith, yet still I wait. I wait for justice to roll down from me like that mighty stream that I read and heard about in someone else's dream. Your racism is so strong, even within my own race. You will not even look me in my face. Where are my babies? How did they get there? We had a good name. We were safe in my care. You lied, you robbed me, you stole them from me, then disappeared in thin air. You say what you do is civil and procedure. You spend trillions of dollars in advertising with lies telling me to call if I really need you. White people are not the only ones with knowledge. You pipeline those who are not to prison, not college. Jesus Christ represents both lamb and you. What have you done to my babies? Right here in America, the red, the white, the brown, the yellow, and the blue. You robbed me of my rights to be the mom to protect and provide. Through Lake Erie and other water and wallets, you have made them hide. You went into a school with my civil protection I had in order, I had in place. You held me hostage and told them that I had given them away. You came where I was supposed to be safe with my 2-year-old that unexpected day. You say we have no right to life because we are not all white. You use it against me because I am not jet black. You say just get over it, just fall back. Those the same color as me tell me to just let things be since racist white America hangs people from a tree. I'm a political candidate for America in elections and race. It is a time for this nation to see a new face. I shall always love my babies. Although so many lies about me have been told, my babies and my freedom shall never be bought or sold. I walk by faith, not by sight, even on this most difficult, memorable night. My babies who I gave birth to from my womb shall not be compromised by your racist, sexist tombs. The fruit of my womb is blessed. Even on my babies, my sucklings were robbed and stolen from my breast and my nest. But I overcame that too. Here in America, the red, the white, the black, the brown, the yellow, and the blue. And I still want to know what you all did to my babies.
Thank you. Next, we have Leon Meredith from Ward 7 to talk about the community needs, Full Court Press LLC, not being paid by anyone. Mr. Leon Meredith, you have the floor.
I thank you, Carl All, for your opportunity to speak. The late, great W.E.B. Du Bois said, as soon as my people become concerned with mere money-making, they will lose all sense of manhood. Yes, my name is Leon Meredith, and I represent my community. Manhood is missing in our culture. The balance of life, the infrastructure of character, personality, principles, and morals. See, my job, my title, my duty for humanity is an existence coach. I am a philosopher and I study life. My community is moving at a rapid pace, but we have no foundation. The capable and creative black men need the assistance of the city and the council. We are living a death style that's not a lifestyle right now. Funding and grant opportunities must be redirected away from these hollow programs and feel-good initiatives. I represent the needs of the new kingdom we're building because my community leaders know not. But together, going forward, we can build the bridge to the new kingdom and break the status quos we continue to stand behind. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Next, we have Ms. Samaria Rice from Ward 15. The topic that she would like to talk about is Cleveland. She's representing the Tamir Rice Foundation. She's not being paid by anyone. Ms. Rice, you have the floor.
Thank you. City Council members and Mayor Bibb. Mayor Bibb, by not completing and completely supporting the city's charter, Section 115-5, which was established with the Community Police Commission, you have put the Cleveland residents in danger. Issue 24 is something you ran on, and it was elected because of the citizens. And it's essential to the future of the city. My son was murdered because of the failures of those in leadership before us today. It's because of people like me demanding justice across the country and organizations like the Tamir Rice Foundation and Black Lives Matter exist. The behavior that has been demonstrated by the leadership in this council is not acceptable. It has been filled with a lot of lies and deceit. I can't even sleep at night. I am wondering about the safety of our community and our missing children. The continued corruption in this city is so real. I really feel sorry for most of you. I feel sorry for us as a whole. Not having a conscience or a righteous mind, the blood will lie on your hands. I am disgusted with the lack of support from some of the city council members, especially the safety committee, who has undermined this charter from the start. And the people in the city who look like me, what a damn shame. I'm confused how it's not an urgent matter. You all I'm confused how it's not an urgent matter to you all to make sure the implementation of the charter is done correctly. I'm glad it's election time. It's time to see new faces, hear new ideas. Most of you all have failed the community with lack of economic efforts and no infrastructure in the wards. I pray to God that council would change with new faces and new leadership for the community. The law director, Mark Griffin, you and Sabo know each other, and you sit here and undermine his expertise. And in the language of the charter, section 115-5, you act like you don't understand it, and it's really pitiful.
Ms. Rice?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Jennifer Potter from Ward 3 to talk about sustainable solution for community gardens. She is not representing anyone and not being paid by anyone. Is Jennifer Potter here? Jennifer Potter is not here. We'll move on to the next speaker. The next speaker is Terry Wong from Ward 3 to talk about the Police Commission and police oversight. She is not representing anyone and not being paid by anyone. Ms. Wong, you have the floor.
Thank you. Good evening, council members, mayor's administration, and fellow Clevelanders. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak. I had planned to address the Community Police Commission again tonight, but I'd like to pivot to something just as critical, the importance of community and collaboration in shaping Cleveland's future. Last week, I read with great interest about Council President Blaine Griffin's meeting with Mr. Chen Li, head of the Chinese consulate in New York City, facilitated by the Greater Cleveland Chinese Chamber of Commerce. This meeting marked the beginning of discussions on potential partnerships between Cleveland and China, a nation that has undergone the most remarkable economic and social transformation in modern history. It's actually true. China has lifted over 800 million of its people out of poverty and virtually eradicated illiteracy in just decades. This is a staggering but also repeatable feat, one that speaks not only to strategic investment in industry, in infrastructure, but also a deep and abiding respect for people and history, a societal philosophy rooted in communal effort and mutual uplift, what contemporary China calls socialism with Chinese characteristics. Long before the time of Chairman Mao, for millennia, Chinese society has placed scholars and workers, those who contribute through knowledge and labor, at the heart of a thriving society, while merchants and business people have traditionally played a supporting role in advancing the common good. This reflects a long-held principle that economic growth must serve the people, not just the interests of a select few. Even today, China's economy remains state-led, designed to serve the people, not commercial interests. Last week and this week, we heard Ohio City residents speak out to save their longstanding garden from being replaced by $1 million development. A similar fight is happening in Asiatown, where residents are pushing back against plans to develop the former Dave's supermarket because it does not contribute to the cultural and existential needs of the community. These needs and petitions, though miles apart, share a common theme. Who gets to decide the future of a neighborhood? The people who live there or those with financial power? Community above commerce, people above profits. This is how China has thrived, and it is how Cleveland can too. There's a fiscal crisis looming on the horizon for nearly all American cities, but it's not too late for Cleveland to reverse course and truly harness the power of the people and its community. I hope you all do this. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, we have Sean Weiler from Brecksville to talk about fixing injustices in Cleveland. He is not representing anyone, not being paid by anyone. Mr. Weiler, you have the floor.
I addressed the Cleveland City Council through the council president. It's better? Yeah. I addressed the Cleveland City Council through the council president. Good evening, councilmen. Today I'll talk about how to fix injustices in the city of Cleveland. So far as I can tell and will allege, the city of Cleveland government does not care about its citizens. Most obvious proof of that fact is the fact that the population has decreased to the point that a number of city council seats has decreased over time. Obviously, if the city of Cleveland was a just and hospitable city, it would be increasing in population. I allege the fault is largely on the part of the executive branch. The police can and must enforce the law. My personal experiences with them have been that the police do not enforce the law. Once I managed to get a police report from the City of Cleveland Police, and the police officer told me to my face that the police did not investigate misdemeanors. The particular crime I got a report for was an offense associated with organized crime. I allege that those responsible for it would dearly love to murder me, but it is doubtful that any investigation will result in punishment. I could help fix issues related to poverty in this city, but I allege that based on facts that the City of Cleveland government is not interested in a partnership. Should not be necessary, but voter pressure can work. What I probably need is to talk to a trustworthy attorney. In return, I'm in possession of valuable information which I am willing to share. For example, I know of 2 methods of non-surgical and non-drug treatment of back pain. Also, there is a therapy which has been proven to decrease the risk of developing cancer by 90%. Additionally, there's a simple method which can pretty much guarantee that a person will not experience a natural heart attack. Finally, I know how to detoxify lead. My cell phone number is 216-577-4535. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Colleen O'Rourke. Colleen O'Rourke is from Ward 3 to talk about sustainable solutions for community gardens. Colleen is not representing anyone and not being paid by anyone. Is Colleen O'Rourke here? Colleen O'Rourke is not here. Going once, going twice, she's not here. Last but not least, Minister Kevin Baldwin, Ward 6, how to restart a community in crisis. He represents True Holiness Temple and is not being paid by anyone. Mr. Baldwin.
Grace and peace to you all. May you walk under open heavens and may everything you touch turn into God. When I spoke in November, I gave you a vision for a movement called Operation Safe Landing, which is based on social restoration through community engineering. Tonight, I give you the blueprint on how Operation Safe Landing will be accomplished. It's a strategy that has worked before, it will work again. First, we need information and data on crisis, problems, and issues affecting the city of Cleveland negatively and impacting it with trauma. Then we need to discover target populations and target areas being affected by certain conditions and problems. Then we need to organize work teams to address these issues and problems. Then we need to have the work teams make contact with key people and key figures who will be vital, I guess you would say, vital tools and influences to helping move, things along. And then the most vital part is coming up with target dates to begin rolling things out. This strategy has worked before. It will work again. And I'm using an approach called a decision tree. A decision tree is a compass on how any and all decisions are or will be made. And we need to move as expeditiously as possible, because the longer we wait, things are not getting any better. We need to come together and roll out Operation Safe Landing, because the city of Cleveland deserves to know, despite how things look or the problems we face, if we work together, it will be a safe landing. And I yield the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Baldwin. That concludes public comment. Madam Clerk, please share communications.
File number 286, 2025, from Michael Golden, Associate Developer, Penrose, LLC. Notice of intent to Ohio Housing Financing Agency for multifamily funding programs for the development known as Lorraine Avenue redevelopment on the former McCafferty Health Center property. File number 287, 2025, from Jaleesa Neal, Development Project Manager, Emerald Development and Economic Network. Notice of intent to apply to Ohio Housing Finance Agency for multifamily funding programs for the development known as Northridge Commons. File number 288, 2025, from Jimmy McCoon, Vice President Development, Wallach Development, LLC. Notice of intent to apply to Ohio Housing Finance Agency for multifamily funding programs for the development known as the Depot Lofts. File number 291, 2025, from Director Alexandria Nichols, Department of Parks and Recreation. Notice of gift acceptance of 15 Peloton bikes from Cleveland Clinic Foundation for Collinwood, Cadell, Estherbrook, and Glenville Recreation Centers. File number 292, 2025, from Director David Margolis, Department of Public Health. Notice of gift acceptance of trees from Cleveland Tree Coalition for the Division of Air Quality, valued at $6,000. File number 309, 2025, from Jimmy McCoon, Vice President Development, Wallach Development. Notice of intent to apply to Ohio Housing Finance Agency for multifamily funding programs for the development known as Wade Park Station. File number 310, 2025, from Brian McGeady, President, Pivotal Development, LLC. Notice of intent to apply to Ohio Housing Finance Agency for multifamily funding programs for the development known as Hub 27 Phase 2. File number 317, 2025, from Kevin Brown, Director of Senior Housing Development, National Church Residences. Notice of intent to apply to Ohio Housing Finance Agency for multifamily funding programs for senior housing development on Lancashire Road in Cleveland Heights, Ohio. From the Ohio Division of Liquor Control, file number 282, 2025, regarding a transfer of ownership application at 620 Frankfurt Avenue, Ward 3. File number 283, 2025, regarding a new license application at 12204 Larchmere Boulevard, Ward 6. File number 284, 2025, regarding a new license application at 16601 Euclid Avenue, Ward 10. File number 285, 2025, regarding a transfer of location application at 6400-02 St. Clair Avenue, Ward 7. File number 311, 2025, regarding a transfer of license application at 13024 Buckeye Road, Ward 4. File number 312, 2025, regarding a new license application at 3382 West 44th Street, Ward 14.
Thank you. Appointments.
File number 289, 2025, from Council President Blaine A. Griffin, recommending the appointment of Councilwoman Jasmine Santana to Cleveland Housing Investment Fund Program Loan Review Committee as a voting member pursuant to Ordinance 637, 2024, passed September 30th, 2024. Without objection, the appointment is approved. File number 290, 2025, from Council President Blaine A. Griffin, recommending the appointment of Councilman Anthony T. Hairston to Cleveland Housing Investment Fund Program Loan Review Committee as a voting member pursuant to Ordinance 637, 2024, passed September 30th, 2024. Without objection, the appointment is approved.
Thank you. Are there condolence resolutions?
None.
Any other condolences? All right, we'll move to congratulatory resolutions.
Resolutions of recognition by Councilmember Kelly for Amarellis Merced, by Councilmember Santana for Anastasia Malone.
We do not have any presentations scheduled. However, I will ask for Councilman Starr and Councilman Conwell to make sure that we work on setting up the John Hay girls for their cheerleading championship as well as their basketball championship. We need to make sure that we bring them down here to recognize them. So I'll work with you two to make sure we make that happen. Thank you. First reading emergency ordinances referred for administrative review and committee review.
Ordinance 293, 2025, by Council Members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the purchase by one or more requirement contracts of materials, equipment, supplies, and services needed to repair, replace, and maintain the high-voltage static transmission pipe-type cable system components, and for emergency oil spill cleanup, including labor and installation if necessary, for the Division of Cleveland Public Power, Department of Public Utilities, for a period of 2 years with two one-year options to renew, the first of which is exercisable through additional legislative authority. Ordinance 294, 2025, by Council Members Casey and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the purchase by one or more requirement contracts of labor and materials necessary to maintain, test, evaluate, repair, or replace roofs and appurtenances, including but not limited to roofing systems, for the various divisions of the Department of Public Utilities for a period of 2 years. Ordinance 303, 2025, by Council Members Conwell and Griffin by departmental request, to supplement the Ordinance 549, 2023, to add new Section 10 relating to a grant from Ohio EPA for operation of Division of Air Quality, to add authority to enter into a contract with Teledyne API for the purchase of air monitoring equipment. Excuse me. Ordinance 304, 2025, by Council Members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, to amend Section 551.111 of the codified ordinances relating to setting out an excessively large quantity of waste for collection prohibited applicability penalty. Ordinance 305, 2025, by Council Members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, to amend Section 551.112 of the codified ordinances relating to fees for dumpster and compactor rentals, and to amend Section 551.301 of the codified ordinances as amended by 676-A-82 relating to service charges for tire shredding. Ordinance 306, 2025, by Council Members Bishop and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the purchase by one or more requirement contracts for the transfer and disposal of tires for the Division of Waste Collection and Disposal, Department of Public Works, for a term of 2 years.
Thank you. First reading, emergency ordinances to be passed.
Ordinance 295, 2025, by Council Members McCormack, Starr, Griffin, Conwell, Kelly, Moore, and Spencer, to amend Section 1 of Ordinance 115, 2025, relating to a First Amendment agreement with Cleveland Public Theater for Cleveland City Council. Ordinance 296, 2025, by Council Members McCormack and Spencer, to amend Section 1 of Ordinance 114, 2025, relating to a First Amendment agreement with Cleveland Public Theater for Cleveland City Council. Ordinance 297, 2025, by Council Member Gray, to amend Section 1 of Ordinance 158, 2025, relating to a First Amendment agreement with Burton Bell Car Development for Cleveland City Council. Ordinance 308, 2025 by Councilmember Griffin, authorizing the Clerk of Council to enter into a third amendment to the agreement with iVideo to authorize additional professional services necessary for the implementation and installation of various components of the video production system in the Mercedes Cotner Committee Room, and to provide an extended warranty, system maintenance, and software maintenance for Cleveland City Council. Ordinance 313, 2025 by Councilmember McCormack, consenting and approving the issuance of a permit for the T.J. Carey Hart Warrior Run Walk, June 28, 2025, managed by Hermes Sports and Events.
Thank you. Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember Spencer, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage. Seconded by Councilmember Bishop.
Call the roll. Oh, Councilwoman House Jones.
Yeah, for ordinance 295-2025, I know that, please add me to there, and I know there was documentation to indicate,
So noted.
Duly noted. Read the motion. Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House Jones, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Palencic, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 15 yeas.
Call the roll on passage.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House Jones, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Palencic, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 15 yeas.
Thank you. First reading, emergency resolutions referred for administrative review and committee review.
Resolution 298, 2025, by Council Members Starr, Bishop, and Hairston by departmental request, declaring the intent to vacate a portion of East 70th Street. Resolution 299, 2025, by Council Members Starr, Bishop, and Hairston by departmental request, declaring the intent to vacate a portion of East 71st Place. Resolution number 300, 2025, by Council Members Starr, Bishop, and Hairston by departmental request, declaring the intent to vacate a portion of East 73rd Street. Resolution 301, 2025, by Council Members McCormack, Bishop, and Hairston by departmental request, declaring the intent to vacate a portion of Hancock Avenue.
Thank you. First reading, emergency resolutions to be adopted.
Resolution 302, 2025, by Councilmember Griffin, objecting to a new C2 liquor permit at 12204 Larchmere Boulevard. Resolution 307, 2025, by Councilmember Griffin, fixing the date of the next regular meeting of council. Resolution 316, 2025, by Councilmember Hairston, objecting to a new C1 liquor permit at 16601 Euclid Avenue.
Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember Spencer, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage, seconded by Councilmember Bishop.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House Jones, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Palencic, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 15 yeas.
Call the roll on adoption.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House Jones, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Palencic, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 16 yeas.
Thank you. Second reading, emergency ordinances.
Ordinance 156, 2025, as amended by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request to make appropriations and provide current expenses for the daily operation of all municipal departments of the City of Cleveland for the fiscal year from January 1, 2025 until December 31st, 2025.
Thank you. Read the motion to suspend the rules.
Not yet.
Oh, we got more?
This is, right.
All right. Go ahead.
Ordinance 990, 2024, by Council Members Conwell, Hairston, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the mayor and the commissioner purchases and supplies to sell certain city-owned property no longer needed for the city's public use located on East 105th Street and Churchill Avenue to the NRP Group or its designee for the purpose of residential development. Ordinance 1061, 2024, as amended by Council Members McCormack, Hairston, and Griffin by departmental request, determining that the establishment of the North Coast Waterfront New Community Authority will be conducive to the public safety, convenience, and welfare, and it's intended to result in the development of a new community and declaring the North Coast Waterfront New Community Authority to be organized and a body politic and corporate, and defining the boundary of the new community district, appointing members of the Board of Trustees to such authority and establishing related requirement, authorizing intergovernmental agreements, amending sections 131.78, 455.09, and 10 of the codified ordinances as amended relating to the parking fees and declaring an emergency. Ordinance 1173, 2024, by Council Members McCormack, Bishop, Hairston, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Port Control, Public Works, and/or Capital Projects as appropriate to enter into one or more submerged land leases with the State of Ohio and future consent to sublease with various tenants for the submerged land from West 3rd Street to approximately East 49th Street for a term up to 99 years with 2 50-year options to renew, exercisable by the Director of Port Control, and to replace, modify, amend, extend, or otherwise adjust existing identified submerged land leases and subleases. Ordinance 43, 2025, as amended by Council Members Bishop, Polensek, and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Finance on behalf of the Office of Prevention, Intervention, and Opportunity for Youth and Young Adults to employ one or more professional consultants to design and implement projects to support the transformation of city recreation centers into trauma-informed neighborhood resource and recreation centers, to develop and provide programs and activities for youth and their families to serve as tools to prevent violence, develop skills and knowledge to overcome challenges associated with trauma and toxic stress, and to create opportunities for youth and their families to live quality lives for a period up to 18 months, with one option to renew for a period up to 18 months, exercisable by the Director of Finance. Ordinance 119, 2025, by Councilmember McCormack, authorizing the mayor and the commissioner purchases and supplies to purchase property for park purposes located between Starkweather and Professor Avenues to expand Lucky Park, and to amend a property adoption agreement with Tremont West Development Corporation relating to maintaining and improving the park. Ordinance 122, 2025, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Safety to apply for and accept a grant from the Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation for the purchase of firefighter turnout gloves for the Division of Fire, Department of Public Safety. Ordinance 123, 2025, by Council Members Polensek and Griffin by departmental request, authorizing the Director of Public Safety to apply for and accept a grant from the United States Department of Homeland Security for fiscal year 24 assistance to firefighters grant program, and authorizing the Director to enter into one or more contracts for 3 air compressors, 35 multi-gas meters, and associated equipment for the Division of Fire, Department of Public Safety. Ordinance 177, 2025, by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request, to amend Section 50 of Ordinance 194, 2021, as amended, relating to compensation for various classifications. Ordinance 250, 2025, by Councilmember Griffin, to exempt certain property parcels from strong market area tax abatement policies under Ordinance 482, 2022, relating to establishing the entire city of Cleveland as a community reinvestment area.
Councilwoman House Jones would like to be acknowledged.
Yeah, please add me to 43, 2025. Thank you.
So noted.
Thank you. Read the motion to suspend the rules.
By Councilmember Spencer, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage, seconded by Councilmember Bishop.
Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 16 yeas.
Thank you. Call the roll on passage.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House, Jones, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr.
Thank you.
On 10,
Hold on, Councilman Polensek.
Chairman, please indicate a no for me on 1061. Thank you.
Duly noted. I think that's it.
I have to call the roll. I have to give the vote. On 1061, 2024, there are 14 yeas, 2 nays. On 43, 2025, there are 15 yeas, 1 nay. On all others, 16 yeas, no nays.
Thank you. Second reading, emergency resolutions to be adopted.
Resolution 252, 2025 by council members Starr, House Jones, Griffin, Bishop, Hairston, McCormack, Santana, and Casey, strongly opposing Senate Bill 1 and urging the Ohio House of Representatives to defeat this bill that would prohibit diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts at Ohio's public universities of higher education. Resolution 236, 2025, by council members Griffin, Polensek, House Jones, McCormack, Bishop, Conwell, Hairston, Casey, Santana, and Spencer, declaring April 2025 Child Abuse Prevention Month.
Thank you. Read the motion to suspend the rules.
252.
Duly noted.
So noted. By Councilmember Spencer, that the rules be suspended and the legislation just read be placed on final passage, seconded by Councilmember Bishop.
Am I?
B.
Councilman Starr.
Just ask the clerk to add me possibly to ordinance 236-2025.
So noted.
Thank you. I believe I'm going to read the motion to suspend the rules.
I did.
All right. Call the roll.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House Jones, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 16 yeas.
Thank you. Call the roll on adoption.
Griffin, Bishop, Conwell, Gray, Hairston, Harsh, House Jones, Jones, Casey, Kelly, Moore, McCormack, Polensek, Santana, Slife, Spencer, Starr. 16 yeas.
Thank you. We'll move to introductions, and we'll be remiss if we did not acknowledge former councilman, now Judge Jeffrey Johnson, if he could please rise. We also have former Judge Michael Nelson that is here today, one of the newest police commission members, Mr. Michael Nelson. Are there any other introductions? Councilman Richard Starr.
Definitely would like to acknowledge Tri-C, Ms. Karen, her team and her class came down and did a tour with me about some of the government. Last fall, I got a chance to speak to the class, and then we got them this spring to come out to see what we actually do inside of City Hall. And some of them, this was their first time in City Hall, so I want to acknowledge Tri-C and their class for coming out today.
Councilman Anthony Hairston.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just want to acknowledge our state representative who always finds his way down here to join us, Cleveland City Council, State Representative Terrence Upchurch.
Are there any more introductions? Any other introductions? Seeing no other introductions, are there any announcements? Any announcements? Any announcements? Seeing no announcements, is there any miscellaneous? Any miscellaneous? Any miscellaneous? Seeing no miscellaneous. Madam, Councilman Kerry McCormick.
Yeah, I am chopped liver around here. All right. One little announcement. Mr. President, thank you. Appreciate the time this evening. Mr. President, I rise to thank you, the City Council that sits behind us and the Mayor's administration for a honest and tough conversation around our budget. I appreciate the common ground that we were able to arrive on, Mr. President, and I am excited that where we are today. I understand that there is still not agreement on where we landed, but Mr. President, I believe in the process, and I believe where we have landed is the right place to be. Mr. President, I just wanted to say a couple things. First and foremost, I've been here for 9 years. When I first came on council, Mr. President, it was the days when Mayor Jackson had to move dollars from our reserves to pay the bills. Thankfully, we are no longer there anymore, Mr. President, with a combination of our income tax performing well, other taxes, as well as an increase under issue 32 of our income tax revenues, in addition to some other things that we've worked on. I'm proud to represent a city that has seen decades of financial recognition around our budget process and recently an upgrade in our credit score as well. Mr. President, to me, this is not a conversation of either or. This is a conversation of finding balance. And with that, I believe the $4.6 million transfer in from the all-time record-breaking carryover expenditures is appropriate for direct neighborhood investment. Mr. President, our neighborhoods desperately need investment, from our parks to our playgrounds to our sidewalks to our streets to safety cameras to you name it. They desperately need investment. And I believe through your leadership, Mr. President, working with the mayor, that we have arrived at a point much less than you were asked when they first came on, but I believe in an appropriate point. Just two thoughts on that, Mr. President. Number one, you know, the idea of a balanced budget and a structurally balanced budget, I think I'm not going to win this fight. I think we're going to have to agree to disagree on this. But fundamentally, we transfer in dollars, Mr. President, all the time. If you look at our budget book, there are transfers in for all sorts of different reasons that get our revenues to where we are today. The $4.6 million, Mr. President, is both a one-time fund and a transfer in, which would account for revenue achieving a structurally balanced budget. And I'm not an accountant, but I will quote the Government Finance Officers Association directly from their site, Mr. President, which says a structurally balanced budget is described as a budget where recurring revenues are sufficient to cover recurring expenditures. So recurring being on more than one annual basis happening in the city of Cleveland. So this $4.6 million from our record unspent fund here at the city of Cleveland to pay for desperately needed neighborhood improvements, I think is appropriate. I think it's responsible. And even with this expenditure, Mr. President, we are still almost $11 million above our unspent dollars from last year alone. So the most reserves we've seen 50 years. I know we have data going back 21 years for sure, to be certain, but definitely at least that much time. And Mr. President, the other thing I'll say too is I want to humanize these dollars a little bit. They're very special to our community, very special to our residents. So in Ward 3, I can't speak for anybody else, but in Ward 3, let me tell you about the children that are now playing at Abbey Park, Mr. President, because we were able to use funds to finish the budget for Abbey Park in Tremont. Mr. President, I want to tell you about the chronic crime issues I was having in the Flats West Bank, and we worked with the Public Safety Department to deploy those funds to put cameras and lights in the Flats neighborhood, public safety, Mr. President. Mr. President, I want to talk to you about a road project throughout Ward 3, the wisdom of Callie Mersman, who is now the planning director, working with her to make intersections safer, bump outs, speed humps throughout our community. It's one of the most chronic issues that we see in our community. And Mr. President, thankfully to Director DeRosa and his team, we are developing a brand new playground for Fairview Park in Ohio City, one of the most heavily used playgrounds in my ward. All projects made possible because we had ward funds available. Mr. President, and I see my time was up. I appreciate the couple extra minutes. The mayor, the council president, his team, our team, all want those projects. I know that. They all support those projects. They all want to make sure that those type of neighborhoods improvements happen in our city. My point, Mr. President, is A, there is precedent to use these unspent tax dollars that our residents expect us to deploy in our community. B, we are still at a record level of reserves thanks to the fiscal responsibility of the previous and current administrations and council. And C, I think you hit a very good compromise to say, hey, absolutely, we're going to keep those reserves in place. We're going to keep them healthy as heck. We're going to keep them record reserves, Mr. President, but we also have direct needs that these dollars can go into the community and make a real impact on what our residents see, feel, and touch every single day. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman. And I want to thank, if I could, before I go to Councilman Starr, I want to thank you and Councilwoman Santana for really helping me make sure that I get a wide range of the diversity of thought of all council members. I thought that us three really worked close together to complement each other's ideas and thoughts that we got from everybody else. Councilwoman Santana doesn't say a lot, but she spent countless hours working the phones to really try to understand the ideas of her colleagues and why it was important. So I thank both of you guys for staying close to me through this process. Councilman Richard Starr.
Now, real quick, Council President, members of council, I just want to say thank you for your continued support. Resolution 252-2025, us opposing Senate Bill 1 is something that is very important. What we have to understand is during these times that we're living in as leaders, it's important to stand up and to make sure our voices are heard, and also make sure we reach down there to those folks in Columbus to let them know that getting rid of DEI or anything related to funding for education will not be tolerated, and we must stand on business with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Starr. Any other miscellaneous? Any other miscellaneous? I'll briefly just say once again, thank you all for the budget process, for really showing up and giving input with the operational side and the budget side. I also like to thank the administration, especially Mr. Barrett and Mr. Gentile, for their professionalism and how they approach this. I know that everybody is not always going to agree. One thing I always try to do is be professional and use decorum. I want to say this council has been very responsible with our budgeting. This council put that money into the rainy day funds and to the 27th payroll. This council did just as much to try to make sure that we protected and built up those reserves as the administration. This council is in hot church basements and at street clubs every day and hear the cries of this community. So at the end of the day, I don't want any of you to look in the mirror and allow anybody to say that you were irresponsible in your budgeting. We had to make some tough decisions. For the most part, we compromised. We put a lot on the table. We took a lot off of the table, and a lot of your requests did not get fulfilled. However, at the end of the day, working closely with the leadership team and the administration, we believe that we've made a responsible decision around budgeting. And we believe that it is a priority for some of the things that we're looking for. And at the end of the day, I want to say thank you for really working with us, being patient. Thank you for giving us the ideas that you wanted to see. And hopefully we can make sure that we make things happen in our neighborhoods in the city of Cleveland, because our community deserves it. We're going to hear more. I look forward to working closely with you in this upcoming year. Madam Clerk, please excuse the absences.
By Councilmember Spencer, that the absence of Councilmember Gray is hereby excused, seconded by Councilmember Bishop.
This council is adjourned to the call of the chair. Please listen closely. The next meeting will be Tuesday, March the 18th. Tuesday, March the 18th at 4:00 p.m. It is very important for you to be there. Thank you.